Yeah, we're going to have to come up with a new metric of value of lost potential. We'll call it VOLP. And that, but I mean, really, you employ someone based off yes, they meet a need, but ultimately you're employing them for their potential. And to have all that unrealized potential sitting in your business, I mean, honestly, that should actually be on a balance sheet. Because really that is a huge amount of money that you're investing that you're not seeing return on. But now, before we go down that road, I'm going to ask you, Morne, we've talked a lot about coaching and, the positive side of it, but for a lot of organizations, coaching's got a little bit of a stigma attached to it, or a bit of a bad rep in some places. What are your thoughts around that?
I think it might be justified, to be honest with you, and it's got to do with the way in which coaching is used. So from an external perspective, if you're using external coaches exclusively to come and consult to the organization, they're expensive. They are not cheap. And it's an unsustainable effort. And you might be able to put it up for a few months at most, but after a while, it's going to run out of steam. And you would have paid a lot of money, invested a lot of money in that. So I think that there's a certain amount of a stigma around using external coaches and the cost factor involved, and the fact that because it's a high cost, it can only be a targeted thing for executive teams and top-end managers. So it tends to be something that's only deployed for a certain number of people, and we love it when the top guys get certain privileges and we don't, right?
Everyone loves that. Yeah, best.
So I see that as being something. It's seen a little bit elitist, but it's a cost structure issue, having this external, being reliant on an external expertise, consultants really, to come and coach inside of your organization. That's one aspect. So it makes sense for organizations to actually turn this into an internal capability, to actually learn to teach their managers how to coach so that they can turn them into leaders, number one. But number two, it's an internal capability that can be deployed as and when it's needed, anytime, in real time. And so you're bringing the benefits of coaching not to your executive C-suite, but you're giving it to the entire organization, and it becomes developmental. Leaders have developmental relationships with their team members, and they're capable of developing and leading people. So you can imagine how that ignites and starts realizing some of that untapped potential. And I love that metric that you gave. But really to try and realize some of that potential that's being lost, this is the way to do it. Bring it in as an internal capability. The problem, though, is in some cases, HR are the only people that know how to coach. And where you've got certain HR professionals, really many times their job is to actually get some kind of performance improvement out of people. And coaching skills will be deployed as a performance management, as a part of performance management. Now, that is a threatening environment in which to deploy coaching. In fact, if you're doing it as a last resort, you're doing it wrong. Coaching should have been done way before then. People should have been developed and supported in that development to grow their capabilities so that you're not having to performance manage them later. In fact, you're just saying thank you to them for the wonderful performance that they're delivering. And so I think that we're in the hands of HR, and I can understand HR professionals, needing the coaching skill set and using it, but the circumstances in which they're asked to deploy that skill set sometimes is the wrong place to be using coaching. So it's used as a remedial performance management measure instead of its wonderful intention, which is actually developmental. If you use it in a developmental context, people get the full benefit, and the organization starts realizing the full benefit over the whole employee's time at the organization. And so you're realizing more of that lost potential over time. So I say that organizations should use it in a developmental way, and they should be doing it from the word go, not just using it as a remedial final intervention for performance management where things have gone wrong.
And it's got to kind of, you kind of start having a bit of a Yoda thing going on there where you're kind of like, use the force for good, Luke, but I hear, I mean, then that is where it comes from.